This is an interview in the series Women Around the World, mosaic of feminine impressions and inspiration in times of Corona. My name is Cécile Masson. I'm the author of Rose, Letters of Love to Life. I'm a leadership coach specialized in unfolding potential. I have the pleasure to share this virtual space with Ingun Bol. Welcome, Ingun.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
You're most welcome. Ingun, you are the president of the Female Wave of Change and co-founder of Moving into the Future. Just please introduce yourself a little further.
Yes, well, thank you again for inviting me. I'm really grateful for being able to share my story and to see where we can support others to move forward. Very technical background. I'm an engineer, worked in the IT business for 20 years, not really happy. So I decided to quit my job 20 years ago. And that happy was very much because of that very masculine environment. And I knew that I was not going to change that environment. So I knew I had to change and started my own business, 2003 beginning. Mostly by supporting people to find their way, to find their purpose and start their own business. I'm a real big supporter of entrepreneurship because I do believe it's the backbone of the economy. And moving more and more, it came as something just happened. And I'm always very much into, if I find lemons, I make lemonade. And women just came on my journey. And I did something with it, and that started now almost 10 years ago. Did bigger and smaller events, but 3.5 years even became more and more that we live in a world of aware that we live in a world of change. That change is exponential, that it is going to affect us in each and every corner of society. But I also saw that women were not really paying attention, and that they were almost hiding and pretending that if I don't look in that direction, it's not going to affect me. But I thought we really have to take responsibility and we really have to do something about it. So we have to be ready. And that was one of the reasons why we started Female Wave of Change. The other one was very much because I realized that the world we live in, that we had created, and mostly over the past 50 years, that was not something to be very proud of, to leave to the next generations. And I thought, well, we have to do something, and we have to do it now. Take our responsibility, step into our leadership, be the change, and create a world that is more human, more conscious, more connected. A better world for each and every one of us.
How does COVID-19 affect you personally in this lockdown that we experience here in the Netherlands and worldwide?
Well, I do believe that I'm in a very lucky situation that it has not affected my family or my close friends, nor health-wise, nor economic-wise. So far, so good. But on the other hand, when I realized what was going on, I was worried. Because especially, and not so much for me, but I was very worried for the next generations. So what we did, and especially within the Female Wave of Change organization, we said, okay, let's just refocus and let's do it now, because this is going to affect so many women, families, communities worldwide, that we have to start supporting them immediately. And that is also what we have seen happening. And that is, well, it is something that affects me as a person, because I see what is happening, especially because we are with our organization in almost 45 countries. We see that women and children are being affected more. People of color, women of color are affected more. So there are a lot of issues that we need to support them and get them through this situation, but also to keep an eye on the future. And that is very important because, we cannot change the past. Today is what we have, so we have to act on what is happening today. but we have to act also on what is going to happen in the future, because we have to create a better outcome. And my biggest fear is that we go back to what it was. So that's not going to happen.
After Corona, you mean that we go back
to Corona? Well, you know, it is not even what we've been discussing a lot about it in our organization. There will not be a time after Corona. We are talking about a time with Corona.
Exactly. Yeah. So how do you see the bigger patterns? If you know, as a coach, I would say, what are the systemic patterns that you're seeing? As a past, you say the world that we have created is not the world I would like to leave behind for future generations. What did you notice that didn't please you, and what would you like to change in that?
Well, for us, we defined 5 pillars, very important parts. And one is humanity. You know, we have lost what is most important in the world. You know, we are all a human being. We are all part of this whole mankind. And we do believe that humanity has to be core of all our decision making. That is one. And, you know, if we saw what was happening, of course, if we look at women, it is, you know, we were not equal. We really are working for that equal, inclusive, you know, embrace diversity. That is for us is very important. You know, women of course deserve to be equal, of course, pay, and we don't work on that a lot, but of course, there has to be equal pay and equal opportunities. But for women and women of color, because their situation is even worse. But humanity, to make that the core of our decision making, that is one. The other thing is, of course, our environment. You know, it is a mess. And we have to act on it. You know, we don't have a planet B, so we have to do what we have right now. And if we want to leave a world that is still healthy, a Mother Earth that is still healthy, there is no talking about, you know, we have our goals for 2030. We have to act on it now. And I always use in speeches this great story of the way of thinking of the Iroquois Indians. They say, every decision, you have to be aware of what the effect it will be on the next 7 generations. Exactly. That means that on every decision that we take right now, that we are going to change our perspective, not in, okay, so it will work today. No, how is it going to affect our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren? Because that is important. So our environment is very important. The economy is, of course, very important. And we do believe that a lot of issues also, if you look at human rights, that a lot of these issues are also because not everyone is financially independent. So we need to be able to support, again, of course, for us, especially women, to become financially independent. So that is one of our core issues. And education there is also very important. So also, again, education is very important. We need to make education available for each and every child everywhere in the world, and it needs to be a kind of education that is different than what we're doing now. We are only looking at numbers, you know, and that is very the masculine way. You know, we need to do standardized testing, and you have to keep up with what you're doing. We feel that we really need an education that is much more focused on the individual child and the personality, but also that we learn them to work with the values. You know, there's much more those human values that are incorporated in our education system. So we need to work on our education system, and we need to work on our healthcare system. And why those things? You know, we talk a lot with women worldwide. So what are the issues they're facing? And what are the most important things if you go back to the basics? And that is what we're doing right now. We are going back to the basics. Is for them, it is very important to have a roof over their head, to have food on the table, to have access to good education, good healthcare, and that it's a safe environment. Those 5 issues, those 5 pillars are major importance. So that is also the things that we will be working on.
When you speak about the values that you embrace in your organization, Female Wave of Change, Could you elaborate a little on these values? How do you formulate them? How do you sense them?
Well, I think it is so much more what we say, it's the feminine values, but actually it's the more human values, you know? We act from our heart and less from our, you know, our head. It's less the racial, but more the feeling. It is about empathy. It is about respect. It is about trust. It is about taking responsibility. It is about collaboration. Well, you know, all kinds of things that are much more human connected.
So when you say working from the heart, working from less from our intellect, but more from our senses, yeah, our body, in literature from leadership, we speak about empathic leadership is needed in this time. Is that what you would say is the feminine kind of sensing that is needed to really rebalance masculine and feminine energies in the world and in the decision making?
I think, yes, I really do believe that we need those authentic feminine leaders. I'm not saying we need more women than men. We are always talking about a feminine way and not so much about a masculine way. And I was listening to a talk online last week, and there was this lady, and she mentioned, you know, we don't need more masculine women in the top. We need, well, actually, there are more feminine men right now than there are, no. Well, anyway, well, you know, there are a lot of men who are with more feminine values. And then you see the women who really would like to be in the top, or, you know, a lot in politics, etc. They have this very masculine mindset. And I do believe that we need more the feminine way. So, and is it feminine? I think it's the more human way. But the reason why we work more with women is because there are more women who work the feminine way. And I really do believe that we need those women to step into that leadership right now. But please do it the feminine way and not the masculine way.
And that is what you're supporting, that is what you're facilitating with your organization, is to really help them to walk their authentic path and purpose as well, to discover their purpose.
Yeah.
If you say that men have feminine qualities at this time, are these men invited in the conversation as well? Are they invited to really help women to step into their power, into their light?
Absolutely. And we don't have enough, you know, but that's also because we attract more women than we do men. But we actually have one man in our circle of wise women. That's way not enough. But he's also one of the teachers in our Women Leading in Change program. You know, he has been doing all the Brené Brown, for instance. He really has that more feminine mindset, those more feminine qualities. So yes, of course we welcome them. And we do not yet have male ambassadors. But we're open to that as well. But well, actually, I am talking to one next week. He's a potential ambassador, and you know, we would love to welcome them. Absolutely, it is not a wall between men and women. It is that we move more in the direction of the femininity.
Mm. In the preparation of this interview, you were saying as well that leadership is not necessarily only found in boards. It's on all levels of society.
Absolutely, yes, yes.
Could you tell us more about that?
Well, you know, if you look at the whole, we are still in this whole pyramid society. Still, you know, I don't really like it, but this is still the situation. If you look at the top of that pyramid is very small. It is, and we mostly, if we talk with women where they want to drive change, it is in the top, you know, it's in the boards, it is in politics, etc. Well, I do believe that if we really want to drive change and we really want to be the catalyst and really focus on this better world. We need people at all levels of society. So what we're doing also with our education program is we focus on women of all walks of life, because it is as important to have women in the grassroots level as that women that are higher up in that, how you call it, the social ladder, higher up in that pyramid. But we can learn from each other. You know, if we see what happens in these groups during the trainings, we see that these women, from day one, they are all lifting each other up. They're working together to grow together. And it's not like you have done that, or you were there in your socially or, you know, financially. It is very much about who are you as a person, how can you grow as a leader, and how can we move forward together.
So you're saying, how can you grow as a person and how can you lead as a leader?
Yes.
What would be your definition of a leader in this context?
My definition as a leader, I think a leader is someone who takes the first step, who is not necessarily the one who leads all the processes, but who takes the next step, someone who takes initiatives, someone who lifts people up, who thinks out of the box, who is really someone that inspires others to grow. So I think it's more that I feel that as a leader, you're one of the group, but still you are the one who takes the initiatives. And but it's not the one who is walking in front, it's the one who is working together.
So in my terms as a leadership coach,
yes,
I would say it's the definition of what you bring here is very much in the energy of the visionary leader, the one that is taking the first step as a performer, in the sense that first the move,
mm-hmm.
the wave is movement,
yes,
but with a vision behind. So it's in a certain acts. And yet I also hear you speak about empathic leadership.
Yeah.
And it's very much in embracing the greater group. It's not like, look at me, but it's more like the geese, that one geese takes the lead and then another geese might take another point.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's about that energy shift, isn't it?
I love to sit in the back of the room and see others do where they, you know, what they can do best, and grow as and that is also what I do right now. You know, people sometimes they look at me and say, well, you're the founder, you're the president, and I feel like no. Female Wave of Change is an organization that grows and expands and evolves because of us and not because of me. You know, I might have taken the first step, but it's all because of us. So it's more the Ubuntu thinking. I am because we are, but
exactly.
Alone I'm nothing.
And that is a feminine quality, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful. I'm very honored to have you in this mosaic. And the question I would like to ask you is there a exercise, a little something that you could share that is personal and yet has a bigger impact as a practice, as a daily practice that people could use straight away? And then I think a breathing exercise or meditation, or what you tell yourself before you actually enter a conversation, anything.
Mm-hmm. Well, that is what I do already for a long time, is to really to ground. You know, to really live in the moment. And breathing exercises. And the thing is, you know, I start my day to do that. But you can do that anywhere, anytime, any place. And, you know, also before a meeting like this, I just sit behind my desk and start my breathing exercises so that I know that I'm really there. I'm really in the moment. And especially in a time like this with so much going on and so much uncertainty, you have to live in the moment and you have to be grounded. So that for me is very important, to do my breathing exercises, meditation. And every day do your exercise. And you know, this is we have to stay healthy, especially now. And go outside and walk. You know, I turned 60 last year, so it's not like I am the one who is running in front of the team and you know, doing all kinds of sports. But I love to walk, and for me, I need to fill my cup. You know, there's so much going on. Your energy can go down the drain within minutes. So I need to fill my cup. And I live close to the beach. And for me, nature is very important. So I go to the beach or I go here into a forest, but I walk and do it outside, do my breathing exercises, and really be there, be grounded, and live in the moment.
Ingun, thank you so much for the time taken to have this interview with me. Thank you so much.
Of course, you're very welcome, and I'm very grateful that you invited me to be part of this whole session of wonderful ladies in your interviews.
Thank you, Ingun.